The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman. This is The Buzz, not with Kathy Miller, but with Orrett, who is your guest host. So, folks, Cayman's creative world is stepping into the spotlight because Cayman Art Week 2026 will take place on May the 26th until the 31st of May. So from the 26th of May until the 31st. This year brings the largest lineup yet. I understand that Cayman Art Week 26 will feature 10 galleries, 12 studios, 5 museums, 32 pop-up exhibitions, and more than 50 art events across all 3 islands, folks, all 3 islands. So not just Grand Cayman, but also Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. So joining us this morning is the woman at the heart of it all, Miss Natalie Urquhart, who is the director of the National Gallery and also the founder of Cayman Art Week. No stranger to Radio Cayman. Natalie, good morning and welcome to The Buzz.
Thank you. It's always great to be here and great to be talking to you today as the guest presenter. It's always a pleasure.
I know, and I believe this is probably the second time that I have been guest hosting and have had you guys on for Art Week. So yeah. We're sort of making a habit of it.
We are. And
we have to stop meeting like this, you know.
In this amazing new space that you have too. I'm so impressed. It's lovely to see the upgrade and
thank you. So let's introduce to our listening and viewing audience the whole idea of Cayman Art Week, its genesis, before we get into the nitty-gritty.
Absolutely. So Cayman Art Week, we're in our 6th year, which even I can't believe. And as you said, it's our biggest year yet. So it's wonderful to see the momentum that Art Week has been supporting, really, in the last 6 years. And, you know, you and I were chatting just off air about where it sort of originated. And, of course, an Art Week is no unique idea. Cities all around the world have an art week, and it's a great way of shining a spotlight on the multiple venues that make up what we call the art sector. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we know the big museums, and at schools and the public, we engage with those museums like the National Gallery, the National Museum Culture Foundation. But Cayman Art Week is really focused on all of the commercial side of the market. So we're looking at working with artists in their studios, which there are many. We don't even know how many studios, right? It's always a surprise every year. The commercial galleries that, you know, are there to sell artists' work and really help the sector survive, because we're building the commercial arm to it, which is critical. And in lockdown, obviously, we were aware that the borders were closed for safety reasons, but a lot of the market for buying local art is our international visitors. Okay. And of course, for months we had no visitors, so Art Week really emerged out of a way to help shine a light on the commercial side of the market, encourage the local community to get out, learn more about the arts, but also invest and buy art so our local artists can survive.
Okay. And talk about its growth over those 6-year period. Obviously, it continues to get better and better. So we'll talk about what people can expect 2026, but talk about its genesis over the years. Is the development over the years.
Absolutely. So in 2021, I think we had about 23 venues. And again, we've got the really long-running commercial galleries who are really at the core of all of this, because they do this work throughout the year and they represent artists throughout the year. So we've had all of those galleries, but we've also seen a real flourishing of the art community. Some of the exciting things to see that you only get to see during Cayman Art Week are these pop-up exhibitions that you mentioned. And that's where you'll have a creative or an artist or a curator, someone putting exhibitions together, actually collaborate with local venues. So you might see a pop-up in a coffee shop or a restaurant or a piece of empty real estate. We've had pop-ups inside other museum spaces. So these are exhibitions that only are created for Cayman Art Week. And again, this is not something that Cayman Art Week produces themselves with a platform to bring it all together. But the artists themselves or the creative individuals themselves are really coming out to the forefront and collaborating with different local venues to get art across the country.
Have we seen, what have you seen as far as the growth of the artistic community over the years as well? We know that the population of Cayman Islands now, depending on who you listen to, somewhere around about 90,000. What have you seen in terms of the increase?
Gosh, well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be 50 years next week, so it's been quite a journey. Because when I was
remember to give you a
in the middle of Cayman Art Week, right? Of course. So when I was at school here as a kid, we didn't have a lot of opportunities to go out and see creative work being done at the sort of industry professional level. It wasn't a career option necessarily, and we had the incredible trailblazers like Bendel Hydes doing this, and then the Native Sons came along. I think that in that period it's been really exciting to be part of that growth and see the change, but even I couldn't imagine that we've got about 60 creative venues all coming together for Cayman Art Week. So to see that just across all three islands, and again, as you said, Cayman Brac has, Gordon Solomon and Simone Scott doing the work throughout the year, and the National Gallery's over there with 2 exhibitions at Heritage House and the Brac Beach Resort, and then Little Cayman, they have the amazing Seahorse Boutique and Gallery, and Debbie Trushan's studio, of course, the Little Cayman Museum. So there are creative venues across the Cayman Islands, and I think we are so fortunate to have access to just, on every day we can go and visit a lot of those venues, and Cayman Art Week really just helps shine a spotlight on that and remind us that they're all there doing incredible work and that we need to support.
Okay. Wednesday, the 27th of May will be opening night. Tell us about that.
So we have the launch party in partnership with the National Gallery, who are one of the lead partners of Cayman Art Week. That's co-hosted by Susan Aldy, who's Art Week's patron, and again, she's an incredible supporter and has been since day one. And that's a great time to come out, meet the venue owners, meet the artists that are going to be on display. At the gallery, of course, you can see the permanent national art collection. So upstairs at the gallery, we have probably 80 local artists on display at any one time, and that's throughout the year. Wow. So that's a great place to come and get a wide scope idea about who's going to be out there. And of course, we don't want to favour any particular venue, so we have to have it at somewhere neutral like a national art institution. But we're also opening a really exciting exhibition that night called Next Wave, which is a student exhibition. So especially for Cayman Art Week this year, we're collaborating as 2 organizations to shine a spotlight on works 16 to 20-year-olds. So this is high school students, but also school leavers, recent leavers, and what we're sort of calling that emerging professional artist moment. And the students that have applied to be part of that have gone through a really rigorous juried selection. So this is, they can be very proud that their work has been selected for this exciting exhibition. So it's showing you the sort of next generation of artists coming up the ranks. And that will open at the launch event. And then, of course, we have the beautiful Randy Cholette solo exhibition that's on right now. If you haven't been there, definitely go down and check it out. It's a kind of a mid-career moment for Randy. It's not a full survey show, but it's highlighting his multidisciplinary creativity. So there's music, there is word and language, and of course his incredible paintings as well. And Randy will be there on the night doing a performance as well as being there to talk about his work. So 3 exhibitions on the opening night, performance, there'll be refreshments. It's completely free to the public, as the gallery always is. There's no admission to the National Gallery. So come on down and join us and get excited about what you're going to see for the rest of Cayman Art Week. And there'll be a lot of information and handouts and maps and things like that at the night that you can pick up for the rest of the week as well.
Okay, so speaking of the Next Wave exhibition, for those persons who may be listening and we may have some 16 to 20-year-olds listening this morning, or maybe family members as well, who may have an interest in this, that window of opportunity has closed already in terms of 2026.
It has, because we're literally installing the artwork today. So it's going up on the walls today. But this is the first time we've done Next Wave. It's going to be something that we are bringing back each year. And it was really important to us as Cayman Art Week expands. While Cayman Art Week itself is not an educational institution like the National Gallery is, we wanted to make sure we were collaborating with the education sector to have this sort of feeder platform for the next generation of artists. So this year you'll see more and more educational opportunities. We have an open day with St Ignatius School. They have a big art showcase at school on the 30th of May, which is the Saturday. I think Cayman Prep School are doing a full art week internally at the school. Then the Cayman National Culture Foundation are showcasing this year's National Children's Festival of the Arts exhibition at Mind's Eye, which is Miss Lassie's for everyone else that knows Miss Lassie's at the back there, the duplex. And now the special exhibition that we've created through an open call. So it did go out to the community. We've worked with a lot of the different high schools to make sure that we have, a real across the Tri-Island showcase of students' work. And there's about 32 artists, I think, featured in Next Wave.
We know that Mr. Randa Shillette occupies a very prominent position when it comes to art in the Cayman Islands. What makes his exhibition so significant as part of Art Week?
Well, Randy's show was hosted and developed by the National Gallery. We have a guest curator, Kerry Ann Chisholm, who is, again, very, very immersed and involved in the development of the art scene. Kerry's based in Northside and has the Grambella's open air gallery, which I really encourage people to go back to, because there's a great show by Kerwin Ebanks that's going to be on, or is on now, but through Art Week. So the National Gallery is always looking to honour our leading artists. So we do a lot of open calls for group exhibitions. And then once a year, we'll shine the spotlight on a single artist. And of course, we've worked with a lot of the Native Sons over the years for sort of mid-career survey shows. And it's Randy who we are collaborating with now. We're excited that leads across Cayman Art Week. It's actually been on for a couple of months, and it runs through until the 10th of June. But as you said, Randy is an absolutely central figure in the art community, one of our leading artists. He is a member of the Native Sons, as his wife Nasaria is, and she did an incredible exhibition at the National Gallery a few years ago as well, solo show. We've had Al Ebanks, and we're sort of working through these partnerships with all of our leading artists across the years. So Randy will be there on the night. We're also doing quite a big program around Randy's show at the National Gallery. So there'll be drumming circle events. There's dance, sort of art immersion events. These are all going to be on the National Gallery website. And also there'll be some of those running throughout Art Week as well.
Okay, Ms. Natalie, with your permission, we will go to a commercial break. For those of you who are just tuning in, we're talking with Ms. Natalie Urquhart, who is the director of the National Gallery. She's also the, make sure I get that right now, founder of Cayman Art Week as well. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. The Buzz with Miss Natalie Urquhart will continue after this short commercial break. We will be looking at other areas of Cayman Art Week as well. We'll be talking about the Hop On, Hop Off bus tours. We will be talking about Cayman Art Week West, which includes Camana Bay. I got to make sure Miss Susan make sure that she corrects me on that. Not Camana Bay, and 7 Mile Beach. We will talk about Cayman Art Week Central, Georgetown, and Cayman Art Week East. Curator-led tours as well. Then, of course, you heard us mention the BRAC, and we'll talk about the BRAC Art Tour as well. Lots to talk about, so don't change that dial. The Buzz will be back shortly.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Cayman Art Week is back and bigger than ever, with art on show at over 50 venues across all 3 islands from Tuesday the 26th to Sunday the 31st of May. From one-off pop-ups and creative collaborations to open studios and late-night gallery hours, all events are free and there's art on sale for every budget. Join a guided bus tour or visit at your own pace. You'll find everything you need to know at CaymanArtWeek.com.
The 6:15 Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britcay. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
Hi, this is Michael Webster, longtime supporter and sponsor of Radio Cayman. I'd like to say a big happy 50th anniversary to Radio Cayman. I remember 30 plus years ago listening to my grandfather Roy Bodden playing country music and bluegrass music on Radio Cayman. Happy 50th anniversary.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. I am your guest host. My name is Orrett Connor. In the event that you don't recognize the voice, we are talking about Cayman Art Week 2026. That conversation is taking place with Miss Natalie Urquhart, who is the director of the National Gallery. And more importantly, this morning, she is also the founder of Cayman Art Week as well. So let's talk about how do those persons who want to attend, want to get to the various venues during Art Week.
And how do you figure out what to see, right?
Right,
60
yes.
venues, 50 events. So since day one, we really wanted to make this as easy as possible for everybody. So some people may be aware of where some of these venues are. I would say the first start, if you're planning your week, is to go to the website, which is CaymanArtWeek.com. That's a venue that you can learn about every single organization that's involved and what artists are showcasing at those venues. So it's a way of trying to make sense of what you might want to see and then sort of plan accordingly. The great thing about the website throughout the year as well, it's the only place that you can find all of this consolidated into one area. So if you need a contact number for an art gallery or the location on Google Maps, you can go onto our Google Maps and find any of these creative venues on the map. And believe me, I use this for my day job now because it's such an easy, accessible resource, having built it. But the great thing about Cayman Art Week is that we focus on a different area of the island each day, because there's so many venues, again, that we want to help support. So on Thursday evening, we call it Call West, and we have shuttle buses going up and down the 7 Mile Beach corridor from the Kimpton to Baytown Plaza, which is just opposite the Wharf Restaurant. And there are about 20 venues now on Thursday evening. So we kick off at Camana Bay at 5 p.m. because there's 10 art venues at Camana Bay this year, including Jason Kennedy Gallery, which is one of the permanent gallery spaces, and then pop-ups at venues across Cayman Bay. Our shuttle buses leave from there at 6 p.m. and run till 10 p.m. up and down the corridor. But they're designed to be hop on, hop off, as you said. So every 10 minutes, there'll be a bus coming to one of those venues. And that way you can navigate it in your own time. You jump off, go into a venue. Most of the venues are doing some kind of event. So there might be refreshments or the artist might be there to speak to. So it's a little bit different than sort of doing that throughout the day, but they will also be open during the day. So many of these venues, and again, this is where you use the website to check out the timing, will be open so you can take the tour on your own during the day as well. And then, of course, on Friday, as you mentioned, it's Course Central. So it's a similar idea. Georgetown continues to grow. So again, about 20 venues in Georgetown this year, but we are spilling out to Industrial Park as well. So there are 5 venues this year in Industrial Park. So in Georgetown, we'll have 2 buses running on 2 different loops, just to get everyone across this much wider map this year. So we'll have 2 hubs where you can hop on, hop off different types of buses. But again, a bus will come to every single venue on the map. So you can always get on the bus and go on to the next one, or, depending on where you want to get to. And each of these events have a hub that you can find information at. So the Cayman Art Week hub, which is our info desk, will be at Camana Bay to start off with on the Thursday. It'll be on Cardinal Avenue and Seafarers Way Junction on the Friday night. It's a great place to start. Pick up your printed maps. So if you're not sort of digital inclined and you want a nice printout of the map and how to do it and talk to our team, come down and meet us. There'll be refreshments at those venues, and then you can either do a wonderful walking tour of Central Georgetown, which we really encourage because it's a lot smaller than we all remember, right? It's so nice to see people wandering around the town centre at night and really kind of embracing the town. A big shout out to Colin Lumsden and the Georgetown Revitalisation team there for working with us on that.
And then we'll soon hopefully have the Scranton Park.
With a big Ali Banks, beautiful new sculpture in there that I'm dying to see. I've seen it online. I haven't seen it in person yet. And then, of course, Core East, as you said, is a little different because we go all the way to East End. There are art venues all the way up, as of course, no surprise there. But because it's a longer tour, you join us in the morning and you stay with us for the full day.
Okay.
And that one has a small fee of $10 just to help with refreshments. And you can sign up for that on Eventpros, Cayman Art Week. If you want to sign up for the free bus tours as well on the Thursday and Friday, just to get your name registered and receive more information, you can also do that on Eventpros. And then, as you said, Cayman Brac is our other tour. We have 5 venues this year in Cayman Brac, and I get big shout out to Saskia at Heritage House and Gordon and Simone and the team over there. We're going to be kicking off from Heritage House at 3 p.m. on Saturday, the 30th of May. Sorry, so much happening. I'm forgetting the month. And we're going to go to Nim Things, Gordon's Gallery. Simone Scott has a wonderful exhibition at Eldermeyer House honouring our architectural heritage. She's been painting with her art community for the last year, and that's the exhibition of those buildings. And then we're going to look at the Time Back exhibition, the Compass Time Back Community Archive, which is on display at the Beach Resort in collaboration with the National Gallery, because we use that as a satellite exhibition venue. So there's a lot to see in Cayman Brac as well, and that's a free bus tour. You just come down and meet us at Heritage House at 3 o'clock.
How significant and important it is to include the sister islands in this?
All my work, I see, I would never see Grand Cayman being separated. So the National Gallery, we've been there for, 15 to 20 years with regular programming, and our semi-permanent exhibition spaces, which are in partnership with the Little Cayman Museum and the Brac Beach Resort and now Heritage House. We've been there, I think, for 7 years with rotating exhibitions. So we're very keen to ensure when we think about our programming, whether that's Cayman Art Week or my day job at the National Gallery, that we're thinking holistically and building up digital content as well. So there's a lot of downloadable material, lesson plans, collections information that schools in the Sister Islands can utilize, as well as some of the on-the-ground work.
Okay, and I'm made to understand that there will be free Wi-Fi on all of the buses as well?
Well said, and it's really important because then you can get to the website and look at that Google map, right? Yep. So Flo are joining us this year to help us do that. That's going to be really transformative. So again, less and less printed material and more online, but we are really aware that some of us are not as technical as others, myself included. So we will have printed materials as well. So you'll be able to pick and choose the way that you want to access information for Art Week. But if you're at home or you're on a tablet or a phone, the website is such a great resource for just learning about what you're going to see. It also has a full event schedule. And of course, on the top of these tours and access to the venues themselves, which run all the way from West Bay to East End and the Sister Islands, there are quite a lot of panel discussions. There's some art workshops. National Gallery are doing special tours of the permanent collection. So we're doing a maritime art tour on the Friday. If Mr. Loxley's out there, I know he's going to want to join us for that one. We have a Randy Chalette tour on the Saturday at the National Gallery permanent collection tour as well. We have panel discussions at several venues. Gordon's going to be doing a meet and greet in the Sister Islands. There'll be a Time Back panel. in the Sister Islands on the Saturday evening. So there's a lot of ways to sit down and sort of engage more deeply in conversations about some of the work that you're going to see, as well as visiting the venues and meeting the artists. And that's all on the website.
Okay, let's talk about some of your the partners that are with you on this venture.
We've been really fortunate since day one. I think there's so many people out there, both from the public and private sector, that really, I think, appreciate and want to support the development of the creative industries. So this is very much the market. It's about helping artists build careers and sell work, and helping these small businesses sell work, as much as about learning about the wider sector and what's going on. So, with that, we've had from day one the Ministry of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing, Infrastructure, Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, Compass Media, Camana Bay, Cricket Square. Susan Oldie, as I mentioned, is our art patron, who's a big philanthropist and supporter of the arts, and particularly art education. Susan's really passionate about giving opportunities for young people to get involved in the arts. The National Gallery obviously are a core partner, because they are the leading visual arts institute in the Cayman Islands, and particularly from that education and development standpoint. We have culture partners coming back this year in the hospitality sector. So the Kimpton Seafire Resort and Spa, Hotel Indigo. And I think one of the real uptakes for us in terms of getting this out there locally and internationally has been a long-term partnership with the Department of Tourism. They also bring people down to learn about Caymanian art during the week, and help spread the word internationally about why we're increasingly an art destination, and to come and visit Cayman to embrace our culture and the arts.
Yeah, I'm particularly interested in the maritime art. Can you dive a little deeper into that for me?
100%. So, one of and I'll put my National Gallery hat on right now, and of course we're going to see a lot of artists out there in the community inspired by our maritime heritage, doing art in a lot of different venues. But at the National Gallery, of course, we're the custodians of the National Art Collection, along with our sister agency, the National Museum, who are going to be open late for Georgetown Central, and they have some really wonderful exhibitions on right now as well. So we have a permanent collection of art in Cayman. It's grown by about 200% in the last decade, really strategically developing that collection. And of course, we hold that in trust for the people of the islands now and in perpetuity. So a lot of the story that we tell in the permanent collection upstairs at the National Gallery is our maritime history. So we'll be working with a curator, William Helfrich, to lead a tour specifically looking at several key paintings by people like, again, Randy Chalette, Chris Christian, Gordon Solomon, Bendel Hydes. Bendel's work is deeply about his maritime heritage. And so you'll be able to have a special tour that singles out a lot of these different paintings that are embracing that cultural heritage. Then we'll do another tour in that space that's more about the evolution of art on a different day. But of course, you can go down to the National Gallery any time of the year. We're open 6 days a week. Admission is completely free, and embrace and enjoy those paintings on your own time and agenda as well.
Okay, so Ms. Urquhart, Cayman Art Week is your brainchild. You actually introduced it. Tell us about your vision for the future.
So I see myself as a behind-the-scenes organizer. All of the ideas and the events are brought to the platform by the organizations and the artists themselves. But I think, for me, I've always been deeply invested in trying to look for platforms and supportive opportunities for our art community to grow, whether that's through a national institution or my day job, but also the market side of this, because we do understand that the sector can't survive without artists being able to sell their work, to make a living out of this. And that's by no means permanent and finite, right? We have a lot more work to do to really make that very stable. So Cayman Art Week is just looking at that side of the sector. It's almost like two sides of the coin. We have the institution and the education development side, and this side is looking at the business of art. And really looking at ways to help young creatives also understand what that business is, put their business hat on along with the creative hat, and to support the venues themselves. So I think I just really encourage the community to join us in that mission and that vision. Come out, and there's no obligation to buy work. It's just about come and learn. But of course, work starts at different levels. You could buy a print or a postcard and build up your interest to investing more in our, incredibly unique local art that is only found here in the Cayman Islands.
Okay, Ms. Urquhart, I want to thank you for sharing the incredible lineup for Cayman Art Week 2026. From the 26th of May until the 31st of May, the islands will be alive with creativity, free events, pop-ups, studio tours, curator talks, and art experiences for every age and every district. So again, we encourage everyone to check out the full program and the venue map at caymanartweek.com and to make plans to explore the talent that makes Cayman shine and makes Cayman what it really is as far as art is concerned. So folks, this is The Buzz. I am your guest host. My name is Orrett Connor. Please stay tuned for more conversations coming up after the news at 8:15. Please stay tuned. The Buzz will be back shortly.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Minister for Social Development says his administration is committed to tackling the growing number of cases of pedophilia.
There's been a rise in sexual offenses being committed in this country, which is gravely concerning in and of itself. However, when I consider that the majority of these crimes are perpetrated against children, the most innocent and vulnerable members of our community, then this problem reaches a new height of urgency.
In Parliament, the Honourable Isaac Rankin told MPs sex offences cases increased 20% in 2025 to 125 incidents. And 58% of those victims were children.
As much emphasis and concerns we rightfully place on tackling robberies and gun crime in this country, members in this House and the general public may be surprised to know that in the last 5 years, the number of sexual offences committed in the Cayman Islands more than doubled the number of robberies and firearms-related offences. In fact, in multiple years during that period, the number of sexual offences committed in this country was greater than both robberies and firearm-related offences combined.
Mr. Rankin says there are, quote, key inconsistencies in the Cayman Penal Code and sentencing guidelines, which result in charges and sentencing for pedophiles and sexual predators being less severe than what would be, quote, appropriate for the heinous crimes they commit.
And I'm happy to announce that Cabinet has approved a working group to be established to review the existing legislative landscape to address sexual offences, including offences in the digital and online spaces, and for necessary bespoke legislation to be developed for consideration of the Cabinet and on approval this Honourable House.
Minister Rankin says legislative reform will, quote, meaningfully move the needle for government to be able to hold perpetrators accountable for their actions and reduce the risk of repeated offences against the same or other children in the community. Government publishes the Status of Children Amendment Bill. The bill, if passed in Parliament, will amend the 2003 law, which ensures children are not deemed illegitimate regardless of whether their parents are married. Clause 3 of the bill deals with parentage testing orders and introduces a new subsection. If passed, minors at least 16 years of age will now be able to give consent to blood test for a parentage testing order, as long as the minor, quote, understands the nature and purpose of the blood test and consents to the test specifically for a parentage testing order. This will give a 16-year-old's consent the same weight as it would a person that was 18 years or older. The bill also empowers the summary court to deal with matters under the Status of Children Act. You can find the full bill online at gov.ky/publications. The National Coalition for Caymanians Digital Transformation Strategy Task Force is launching public surveys to help shape a national digital strategy for the country. Through May 17th, the surveys are targeting businesses, the public sector, and the general public. And those survey results will guide recommendations on digital adoption and long-term economic growth. All responses are anonymous, and to have your say, you can visit publicconsultation.gov.ky. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Debbie Russ. A British government source has told the BBC that Keir Starmer refused to discuss his leadership or poor local election results during his weekly cabinet meeting. Several members of the cabinet expressed support for the embattled Prime Minister as they left the meeting, but more than 80 Labour MPs have called for him to resign. Pakistan has rejected as misleading US media reports that it's sheltering Iranian military aircraft. It said the planes were being used to transport diplomats during peace talks. The Hezbollah leader, Naim Qasim, says the decommissioning of his group's weapons is not up for discussion in negotiations between Israel and the Lebanese government. A third round of talks is to be held later this week. An indigenous group in Australia has been awarded more than $100 million after its land was mined for iron ore without permission. The court ruled that Fortescue caused significant damage to the cultural heritage of the Yindjibarndi people. The Prime Minister of Greenland says negotiations over the opening of more US military bases are yet to be concluded. Washington asked for 3 new sites after President Trump backed down from his threats to seize the territory. The head of the WHO says work around the hantavirus outbreak is not yet over, but he added there was no indication of a larger outbreak. That's the latest. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. is brought to you by The Light Room. Tired of being unwell and struggling to find the energy and vitality to live the life you desire? Come get recharged from the inside out at The Light Room. Our non-invasive, holistic energy enhancement system detoxifies and energizes the body, enabling self-healing and balance. Book online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL, 38 Pasadora Place, GT.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Got something on your mind that you want to share? You can send a text, send a voice note, or even request a song. Go on, give it a try. Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram, hashtag Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Craving something bold, juicy, and packed with flavor? Introducing KFC's new crispy barbecue sandwich served on a soft, buttery brioche bun. That's 100% KFC premium chicken breast, perfectly crispy, deliciously smoky with crispy onions, cheddar cheese, and barbecue sauce. Just the right amount of messy in the best way possible. Stacked with layers of bold KFC flavor, this sandwich is your new obsession. But hurry, it's only at KFC for a limited time. So what are you waiting for? Get yours today at any of the 3 KFC locations on island. KFC, finger licking good, just got bolder.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Synopsis indicate a few isolated showers are forecast this morning across the Cayman area as low-level instability continue to linger. Both mid to upper levels are dry and showers are forecast to be brief. Furthermore, a light southerly wind flow this afternoon coupled with daytime heating can increase the chance of some localized activity. By tonight, winds would become light and variable as the pressure gradient weakens due to the passage of a frontal boundary north of Cuba. Satellite imagery shows some clouds across the Cayman area. Now, the forecast for today is calling for partly cloudy, becoming cloudy at times with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the low 90s with a heat index near 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 knots or less, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Tonight, partly cloudy, becoming cloudy at times with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures falling to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be light and variable at 5 knots or less, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 12:30. High tide again tonight at 7:04. The sun will set this evening at 6:51 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:52. And the outlook is calling for continued light and variable winds into Thursday as the frontal boundary becomes stationary north of Cuba. Elevated moisture brought by this front will linger nearby, allowing for some isolated showers at times, especially during the afternoon periods. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
Let's hear it for your Wildcat cheerleaders.
Aunt Angie, weren't you a cheerleader?
The best in the Western Hemisphere, until I attempted that switch kick, double twist roundhouse.
Huh?
Exactly. I must have been in the air for 20 seconds before I fell into that snare drum. I set a world record, though, and thankfully I could trust the CG Medical Portal with my claims. All 37 of them.
The CG Medical Portal. Safe and secure. CG Brit-K. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Brit-K, where people come first.
The Ministry of Education and Training invites eligible Caymanians to apply for a local scholarship for the 2026-2027 academic year. If you haven't applied yet, you still have time. The deadline has been extended to Sunday, 31st of May, 2026. To apply or learn more about the various scholarship offerings, please visit www.moescholarships.gov.ky. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and Training.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Top of the morning, let's check in with traffic, see what's slowing and what's flowing. Further up on Shamrock Road, traffic is moving at a moderate pace. Further down, little steadier traffic. As you approach the Linford Pearson Highway, traffic is steady. Expect delays. On Cool Road, traffic is slow moving. Looks like a crawlathon happening on that road. And heading east on Cool Road, traffic is moving at a moderate pace. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, steady traffic, as well as Huldah Avenue. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic flowing pretty good in both directions. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moving at a good pace in both directions. And from the West Bay 4-way, stop flowing nicely. If you've seen accidents, let us know by calling us at 949-6-990. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic is flowing pretty good in both directions. Northtown Road is steady traffic and heading towards the Industrial Park area, moving at a moderate pace. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Remember, click it or ticket.
Start your year off right with Subway's Fresh Fit menu. 4 protein-packed subs with 20 grams or more protein, under 500 calories, and loaded with full servings of crisp veggies on hearty multi-grain bread. Try the grilled chicken and avocado, the ham and turkey stacker, the seasoned steak and avocado, or the turkey and ranch delight. Big flavor, plenty of protein, and fresh veggies in every bite. Fuel your day the Fresh Fit way. Only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
This year, we're taking the Fet for a Cause one step further. Welcome to One Fet. Get ready for an unforgettable night featuring some of the top DJs on island, bringing you the ultimate vibe. From start to finish is pure vibes, good energy, and non-stop music. And the best part, 100% of the proceeds go towards supporting the Cayman Islands Cancer Society and autism acceptance. So this year, you're not just partying, you're partying with a purpose. It all kicks off Friday, May 22nd, 8 p.m. at Sandbar. Don't miss your chance to be a part of something bigger. Get your tickets now at theboxoffice.ky and get ready to take over the streets on Saturday, May 23rd with the Fet for a Cause family. One Fet, one vibe, one cause, one unforgettable experience. One Fet sponsors AI Rentals, CarQuest, Ace, Parker's, Coca-Cola, Tortuga, Stingray Media, Sandbar, Mike's Ice, Radio Cayman, Valvoline, and D&B Audio Technic.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. So we will continue on our journey this morning right here on Radio Cayman. I am your guest host, Orrett Connor, filling in for Miss Catherine Miller, or Kathy Miller. And this month, of course, folks, we are celebrating Child Month here in the Cayman Islands. Child Month 2026 under the theme, See Me, Hear Me. So all month long, the Department of Children and Family Services is hosting events across Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac. From parades and church services to family fun days, scavenger hunts, youth workshops, and community outreach. Joining us this morning to walk us through the full calendar and the meaning behind this year's theme are Gabriella Harnish, who is a social work manager with the Department of Children and Family Services, and Miss Elianna Charles Anglin, who is a social worker. Ladies, good morning. Welcome to The Buzz.
Good morning.
Okay, so Miss Gabriella, let's start by talking about the theme, See Me, Hear Me, and what it means for Child Month. I know in my growing up, the saying was children were supposed to be seen and not heard. Of course, I won't age myself by telling you how long ago that was, but I believe my gray beard and my whatever hair that I have left graying will tell you, as well. But that was those days. Children must be seen and not heard. That has changed considerably, I'm sure.
Yes, and when we talk about see me, hear me, we're asking, or more of a call to action to hear them more, just beyond what they're stating. So this more of an idea of paying attention and listening a little bit carefully to what they're saying and responding early. I mean, children communicate in multiple different ways, right? They not just through their words, but their behavior when they don't speak, different ways in their mood and different things like that. So it's more of this idea of being able to see past that and recognizing and being able to tell if something is wrong or something is bothering them, or kind of what is the reason behind that behavior. So hearing essentially that cry for help that might not specifically be verbal, but come out in a different way, and then, acting and, reaching out to the department and different things like that to help the voices of those children be heard.
Sure. Miss Elianna, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think Gabriella really covered it well. Like with what you were saying, there's very much that cultural aspect where older generations were taught, even in my generation, I was taught, you're seen, not heard. You speak when you're spoken to. And, with a lot of kids now, they need to be heard. There's no more of this silence around that. And, children need to know that their voices matter. So that's where we're trying to make sure that kids are heard, seen, and respected, and safe.
And as far as Child Month is concerned, how does this theme fit into the whole idea of Child Month?
So with that, we are kind of, in a sense, creating this atmosphere of making sure to acknowledge and promote different events that are happening that have our children there, and also encouraging families to some extent to come out and do things with their kids, and different things like that. You'll notice that a lot of the events on our calendar, while not specifically put on by the Department of Children and Family, instead is just very strongly supported and promoted by us. And so we are present kind of there as well to kind of explain and show the community that we also see and hear them, and we show up not just for stuff that we put on, but for things that the community puts on. So that's why there's a lot of stuff on our calendar as it relates to different extravaganzas that different churches are having. Recently, just this past weekend, the Early Childhood Association, they had a walk parade from Bayshore to Gab Building, and so, we were present for that, part of that, encouraged our children to come out and do things like that. We had our inaugural launch. We always launch every one of our months with a church service. So our church service was launched here recently on the first Sunday. And we had different children that are currently in care participate and be a part of that church service as well, plus inviting them out to come out and hear and kind of see that it's not just the social workers that are advocating for them, but you had the ministry there, you had different MPs and different things like that kind of showing up and representing as well.
Okay, so we know that, like you mentioned, some events have taken place already, and there are more to come as well. Can we talk a little bit about the Youth Asset Fair?
Yeah, so that's going to kind of be an event that'll take place at Come On Bay that'll have a lot more different booths and things like that. We will have a booth there for people to be able to come, ask questions, lend support. You'll have different aspects of the different teams of the department, so also represented. So to kind of learn a little bit more about what we as a department do. So, for example, as myself, as the current foster care manager, I'm currently working on trying to build back that foster care program here in the Cayman Islands. And so trying to grow the pool that we have of community foster homes. We currently have 9. We have 9 foster care homes for the entire Cayman Islands. And that is, mind I say, unacceptable. We need more. And so, again, trying to encourage people to come out, ask questions about what that looks like, what that process is, how we support them, how we can support them, and how they can support the children of the Cayman Islands. So that's kind of what that fair will kind of be about.
Let's stay on the topic of foster care. And how many children do we currently have in foster care? And you obviously you mentioned the need for more foster parents, foster care homes as well. Can we talk a little bit about that so that we alert our listening and our viewing audience out there? We may have persons who may have an interest in foster caring.
Yeah, so when we talk about foster care in Cayman, it looks a little different. It's got different aspects in the sense that we have what we call community foster homes. So that would be kind of how you envision, me taking a child or you taking a child into your home, one child, and that's just kind of your, that's your one child that you are caring for and the department is helping you support. So that's the number of the 8, those kinds of homes that I'm referring to. Yeah. And then we have NCVO, which is our foster care facility that is a nonprofit that we work with in connection. And so, they have children in their home as well and that they can hold. And I think their maximum capacity, I believe, is about 10. And so, those are kind of those are the homes that we technically have on island. And so really, we as a community, and I must say that this is something that I appreciate about the Cayman Islands community, is that while we don't specifically have, strangers and stuff like that take care of children, we have a lot of family that step up. So they're, the number of family members that are caring for their, either their niece or their nephew or their grandchild or even a friend, that number is beyond what I would be able to tell you, because that is a lot of where the support comes from in the community. And so I appreciate that, and I thank the community for doing that. But the truth is, there are also children out there who don't have any family, right? Who don't have anybody, an aunt or an uncle or a grandmother or a grandfather who are orphans, who need just somebody to take care of them, whether that be short term or long term. And so that's kind of where that idea of trying to grow that foster care pool lies, because as well, the more homes that I have, or the more homes that the department has and the Cayman Islands has, the less burden we would have to place on the 8 homes that I currently have.
So again, if someone who's listening has an interest in being a foster parent and providing a foster home, how do they go about it? And tell us, let's talk about some of the criteria involved.
Yeah, so I mean, first and foremost, the main criteria is to be between the ages of 25 and 65.
You can be single or
you could be single
married.
or married.
Okay.
Truthfully, that and at this present time and moment, in terms of saying that, to say that that's all that's required for you to reach out to even ask. There is still a process in regards to, going ahead, and we have our application process that will involve a medical and a background check and all those kinds of things. But that's not to say that you wouldn't be able to just even reach out and say, I'm interested. Like, the only thing that you really need to be able to do is to be between those ages. And then we, go through the rest of that in that way. But yeah, so in terms of, becoming a foster parent, it's just as simple as reaching out to the department, making a phone call, sending an email, and just saying, hey, I have more questions. I want to know if I could be a foster parent or what that looks like, and I will reach out to you personally and send you an email, ask questions, and kind of walk you through that process.
Okay. I'm going to make this a little bit more personal in terms of the conversation. And, I introduced both of you. But what I'd like you to convey to our listening and viewing audience as well, the reason that each of you chose to be involved in social work. What drove you in this direction? Let's start with you, Miss Elianna.
Well, growing up in Cayman, I've always loved my community. I did a lot of community service with different
bring that mic a little closer to you,
with different community services, so Humane Society, different churches, different programs. And growing up, I grew up in a Cayman where you saw somebody in need, you helped. And I really wanted to be a part of that community. And by doing social work, I'm able to be within the community, working on the foundation, which are our kids, and being there to be that support for them and helping support the families, and just building that stronger community. We have so many different nationalities, and it's so important that we're all on the same page in terms of our values and making sure that everyone feels appreciated. And so as a Caymanian, I really wanted to be in the community and being able to see and touch lives, and it's been such a great experience, and I really, really enjoy it.
Okay, Miss Gabriella, you?
So, similar to that, I chose, or kind of felt called to do social work as I went along in life, mainly because I talk a lot, as obviously evidenced by this radio show. And not only that, though, I am from here in the Cayman Islands, but saying that as well to say that I wanted to use my voice, my loudness, my talking to advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves, to advocate for those who might be more quiet or not sure how to, whether that be a child or an adult.
Voice for the voiceless.
Yes. And so using that skill, that level of comfort, that ability for me to do that, that's kind of why I felt called to do social work. And I feel like that's how I make the best impact.
And in your preparation for that, let's talk about your schooling, your background in relation to it, both of you.
I went to UCCI. I did the social work program. It's a 4-year program. Yeah, and you get to do your practicum. So you have a required amount of hours per practicum. So I did 4 practicum sessions. So each one was 160 hours. So I was able to be a part of different organizations. So I was with the National Drug Council. I was with the Family Resource Center. I was with HSA. So I was able to see all the different elements of social work that is done in the Cayman Islands, even if it's not through DCFS, and realizing how many organizations we actually do work with before I even got into the role. So I was able to see how all of these things interconnect. So I finished with UCCI.
And I love that. I mean, I think that is just almost very perfect in terms of her schooling, right? It highlights and shows that you can become a social worker, you can serve your community just through and staying here at home, right? You can, UCCI, doing your, like she stated, your experience, your internships and that kind of stuff here on island, getting a sense of what all those different resources are. For me, mine's a little bit different. I went away to school, and I have my master's from the University of Illinois.
Oh, congrats.
And so that's kind of where, I think it is a great spectrum, right? And so we have Elianna here, who, as a Caymanian, went to school here, experienced, grew up here, saw all of it. And then you have myself, who is from here originally, but went overseas and then kind of got a sense and got to see what social work looked like in another country, right? And so now I've returned home and I've brought with me that knowledge and in terms of being able to then try to create a better impact, but also implement different things and to try to help the services and what, social work looks like in the Cayman Islands.
And being exposed in terms of other jurisdictions, can we talk a little bit about the tools that you have at your disposal to be able to help you to be more effective and more efficient in your role?
Tools at my disposal. What do you mean
in terms
by
of
that?
Resources.
Oh, yes. Okay. So like she stated, so we work quite closely with the Department of Counseling, so the FRC, so the Family Resource Center. They offer just a whole host of different workshops, classes, and it is all free to the Cayman Islands, to the public. So parenting classes and different things like that. You also have different things with, what is
the
it?
Young Parents Program, helping with young moms. They do different things within the community. So they have like the SNAP program, so they're in the schools as well. And that's a really great resource for us, especially like when we have some cases where we need some assistance with some sort of mediation, co-parenting classes, different things like that. They do all of those different things. And they're such a wealth of resources and have always just been so helpful. And with the counseling, they do individualized counseling. They do, even substance abuse, different things like that. They are so helpful. And like DFA, we rely on them as well. The Department of Financial Assistance. There's so many organizations. HSA, we work with everyone. Any place where people go, we have to kind of work with, right? Because that's our job, people. And so it's a good thing that while sometimes the smallness may get a little bit stifling, or you may feel like, everybody up in your business, but it's always so good to know, like, you're not alone and there is someone that can help. And it's just being able to be pointed in the right direction. And that's sometimes usually what we do.
Okay. And to what I was trying to think about, but was having a hard time gathering my thoughts related to that, was also our support that we have with education, right? We lean on the roles that teachers in the schools play in this as well, right? Because they're usually amongst the first adults, in a sense, to notice those changes in behavior of children, mood, attendance, social patterns. Children feel more comfortable with their teachers, more relaxed. They have that relationship. And so, that role that our teachers play in the schools is highly critical. And so it is one of the most important early safeguarding interventions and environments that we have to help support children. And so when those kinds of concerns arise, and they arise early, having teachers reach out to the MASH, or the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, is important to help getting us in there as soon as possible to kind of help and provide support and assistance.
Okay. I was going to ask about the MASH. I wasn't sure, how involved either of you were in relation to that. But let's let our listening and viewing audience know what the MASH is all about.
Okay, so in my role as a safeguarding social worker, I get the reports directly from MASH. So how MASH works, it's a multi-agency safeguarding hub, and it is a one-stop shop for social workers and police. And that way, you can come in there if you're having domestic violence issues, or even if you saw something that, you're just not sure, but you just wanted to give an account of what happened, that they're able to take the report and be able to do the preliminary investigation of getting names, getting addresses, getting all of that information, getting the narrative straight of what's happening, figuring out whether there's a criminal element to this and where the police is involved, or if, okay, this is probably just something where social work intervention is needed, and then that's when it would come to us. So oftentimes we work with the police officers from MASH, and we do different joint investigations when there are the criminal elements to it. So we work hand in hand. The police, they're always so great at supporting us, and we're able to effectively touch all the bases, because we can't just work on one side of it if there's another side. So the police they're able to handle the criminal element, and we're able to handle the need for the social work intervention. In terms of ensuring, the number one priority is always going to be safety. So that's our number one priority. So if there is a situation where a child is in a home where it may not be safe, number one concern is safeguarding that child. And so that goes back to the point of the need for foster homes, because we don't have those placements. So in those circumstances, if a kid is removed and we don't know where they're going to go, that's something that they constantly are working on and trying to figure out. But we can't keep them in the home. So we have to figure it out. Yeah. And that's our role as the adults and as the professionals. So
excellent. Yeah. Ladies, we're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. The Buzz will be back shortly.
Grow your business with Breeze 105.3 FM and Radio Cayman. From spot packages to full campaigns, we've got rates that fit your budget and your goals. Email our sales team today, rcsales@gov.ky. That's rcsales@gov.ky. Let's get your message on air and reach listeners who trust us every day.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
If you have an objection to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your...
Don't do it, Tevin! I still love you. I have since the day we stole your mom's car and got matching dolphin tattoos.
Oh, Lordy. Janelle? From spring break, oh wait?
Yes, it's me.
Janelle, you've got to move on.
We're like the wedding guest that doesn't ruin the ceremony. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. I am your guest host, Orrett Connor. We're talking about Child Month 2026. The theme, See Me, Hear Me. That conversation is taking place with Miss Gabriella Harnish, who's a social work manager with the Department of Children and Family Services, and Miss Elianna Charles Anglin, who is a social worker with the Department of Children and Family Services as well, and she is deeply involved with the multi-agency safeguarding hub, MASH, multi-agency safeguarding hub as well. So we're going to talk about the various partnerships, community and church partnerships that have been developed for the Child Month as well. We can start. I'm going to start at the at the end. We know that the Seventh-day Adventist Family Fun Day is on the 31st of May, and that will wrap up the month. What is planned for that final celebration? An idea, or do we want to go take it in the other direction and start with where we go next?
In terms of those different, like I had stated earlier,
Mm-hmm.
right? So a lot of those events and stuff like that are being put on by the community partners.
Yes.
And so we have kind of utilized that to kind of bring and highlight to the community that there are things going on in our community that have their children as our focus.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this kind of more of this call to attention that when you are looking for stuff to do on the weekends with children and different things like that, to think about and reach out to your churches. And you don't even need to be a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, right? To be able to attend these events and different things like that. And so kind of being aware of there are other ways to be involved and to kind of get your children involved in other things like that. Because, one of the things that we try to promote as a department is this idea of making sure that we engage our children in things that are family oriented, that are positive, that are healthy, to try to avoid and reduce the amount of times that our children are on screens and being at risk of exploitation and different things like that. But also, finding ways that they aren't just kind of out riding around, not with no purpose sort of thing, giving them more opportunity to in a sense, maybe be exposed to people that don't have their best interests in heart. And so getting them connected with those communities that do have their best interests at heart. And so that's kind of where that, where where our calendar kind of comes in and what we're trying to create and focus.
And all of these events that are taking place, they're all free, I believe, as well.
Yes.
So, and the Department of Children and Family Services, you encourage families to participate in these events. For instance, the Tea Party, which will take place on May 16th, or also the Windsor Park Family Fun Day on May the 23rd. And I believe these events are free to the public as well.
Yes, and then too as well to highlight on there, for any listeners that might happen to be in the BRAC, there are also events that are taking place on the BRAC
Tell
as
us about
well.
those. Tell us about those.
So so they're different. There's a family movie night on Friday. This coming Friday. There's different church services. Different parts of things that are happening as a relation to Heritage Day as well. And again, those like youth meeting, game night things, fellowship stuff that's happening on different Sundays. And so things like that, that the BRAC, our branch or DCFS in the BRAC is helping to promote. But again, with that same kind of idea of creating positive and healthy events, or supporting and promoting positive and healthy events for our children, whether they reside in the Grand Cayman or Cayman BRAC.
Okay, ladies, we're going to take another commercial break. I know that there's short in between, but I ran over on one of my times. I was waiting for Miss Susan to give me the signal, for the commercial break. Okay, go for another 5 minutes. I'm told that we should go for another 5 minutes before we take our next commercial break as well. The landscape in the Cayman Islands has changed considerably, with a population now of, some say we're at 90,000. Some believe we may be, above that as well. From your mandate within the Department of Children and Family Services and the Department of Children and Family Services, your mandate is to protect all children, irrespective of whether they are Caymanian, as long as they're residing in the Cayman Islands. Over the years, can you speak to the changes that you're seeing and whether or not there is more demand for the services that you provide?
I think with any kind of community growth, you're going to see a change and a greater impact on society. I think about people ask me, or, how am I adjusting to being back home? I mean, I've been gone for over 15 years. Like the Cayman of what I grew up in is nowhere near the Cayman that I have come back to. But that isn't to say that a lot of Cayman culture is still not here. I think recently, I was listening to your earlier shows and different things like that. But, it was determined that over 58% of the sexual offense victims in 2025 were children, right? So those kinds of statistics, those kinds of things that are impacting the Cayman Islands, those are the kinds of things that we need to fix, to put it very simply. I think there's also, we are definitely, and I appreciate this, definitely seeing more mental health concerns with our children as well. And so, organizations like the Alex Patton Foundation and those kinds of things are kind of helping to promote and kind of support that idea as well. Because, again, that is a cultural shift from what we might have been used to. And so kind of remembering, again, as well, right, that our theme of see me, hear me, right? So when maybe my behavior might seem odd or different, then, kind of ask yourself, like, well, could this be something else? And so, definitely reaching out to the different partners and people here on island that can help lend support to that. because, like I said, we are seeing a greater increase in those kinds of things.
Ms. Elianna, you want to add to that in terms of your involvement with the MASH?
I think in terms of the reports, every year we get more and more reports. And I think that you can look at it two ways, right? We can look at it as more bad things are happening, or people are seeing these things and are actually reporting it. It's not being swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And with those changes, it's as we get more educated, I can say the same thing possibly about the mental health aspect, right? We're getting more and more of these reports, but we've been having these concerns, but we didn't have any word for it. We just wrote them off as bad kids, behavior issues. And turns out a lot of these kids are struggling with ADHD, dyslexia, so many different things that impact their behavior and emotional regulation. So it's very clear that as we are becoming more educated, we're going to keep unraveling more and more issues. But at the same time, that's how we're able to get ahead of the issue, by being able to know what it is. And that's where the evidence-based practices are important. And so, like with what Gabriella was saying, with her being able to bring back this wealth of knowledge to be able to say, okay, well, this is how we can tweak this for Cayman. Because I feel like that's a part of the issue, right? A lot of the times we want to take from different places and try to copy and paste, but we can't do that. It has to be catered to our community. And I think that's why it's so important that we continue to speak about it, make sure that everyone is involved in this. Everyone has that responsibility.
Okay, so folks, the voices that you're hearing are voices of Miss Gabriella Harnish, who's a social work manager with the Department of Children and Family Services, and Miss Elianna Charles Anglin, who's a social worker also with the Department of Children and Family Services. We're going to take our last commercial break. When we return, we'll continue with our conversation about Child Month 2026 right here in the Cayman Islands, so please stay tuned.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio. Brought to you by these kind sponsors.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Cayman Insurance Center.
Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call me today, Michael Webster, at 925-5433.
UWI Open Campus, on-site, online, and on demand.
Visit open.uwi.edu. Call them today at 946-8322.
And Coca-Cola, from generation to generation, still a Cayman classic.
The #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio. The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. I am your guest host, Orrett Connor. We're on the final leg of this segment of the show. We're talking about Child Month 2026 here in the Cayman Islands. The theme, See Me, Hear Me. We're talking with representatives from the Department of Children and Family Services, Miss Gabriella Harnish, who is a social work manager, and Miss Elianna Charles Anglin, who is a social worker, both with the Department of Children and Family Services. Ladies, I'm going to pass the mic back over to you to ensure that you cover everything that you want to cover in this last leg.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I want to highlight is what those listening can do, what those parents can do. I know I talked a little bit about what, how the important role that teachers play, our community partners, our churches, and different things like that. But, one thing that parents can do, or grandparents, or those familial people who have children in their presence, is to be more present with them, to kind of know what they're doing online. I know I alluded to that a little bit more, but know who they're talking to on social media and different things like that. Kind of be comfortable and know that it's okay to monitor their devices, or ask them, who are you talking to? Where are you going? To limit that access if need be. The truth is like, yes, they might be vexed with you in that moment when you ask them or you tell them that they can't do something, but know that action says two things to them. One, it says that you see them, right? And you know what that means to them, and that while they're upset, you know that it'll be for their best interest and, in the long run, benefit them. And so, kind of, again, watching for those changes in their behavior, in their sleep, in their mood. Are they being more withdrawn? Children need that supervision, that connection, that conversation. And so being comfortable my stating is always being comfortable in the uncomfortable. And pushing through that, and knowing that the outcome in the end is good. So yeah, that would be my call to parents to again kind of watch those habits. Are they being more secret? Are they taking more risks? Are they is there a change in their peer groups and different things like that? Because not everything is meant to harm, but it's more that we need to pay attention. And so, yeah, that would be kind of my call out to parents who are listening.
One of our listeners wants to know where do they find a schedule of events? Where can they go to find the schedule of events?
It's on our Facebook page.
But also, if you want, you can always reach out to the department, and we can send one out to you. And different things like that. I believe Radio Cayman also has a copy of it. And if not, we can always provide you all with a copy as well as Compass Media as well. Can we, try to get a copy out to them as well. So there are definitely different ways that you can.
But you can always reach out to DCFS, and we can get that for you. No issue at all. In terms of the calendar, we've had a lot of past, events, and coming up, there are some things that we're trying to do for the kids who are currently in care. We have some really cool things planned for them. And one of the things is we're getting a dinner sorted for them, thanks to Lobster Pot. They sponsored it.
Okay.
So it'll be really nice, for the kids who are in those homes, and to know that they are appreciated, and there are people who care, and there is a community who does care about them. Even restaurants, business owners, all of these people, it's our job as the community. Everyone plays a role, and we need to make sure that these kids know that they are cared for and they are safe in our community. In terms of what is coming up on Sunday, we have the Church of God Prophecy Church service that starts at 10 a.m. There's the New Testament Church of God Extravaganza, that's from 3 p.m. to 4:20 p.m. There's also the Seventh-day Adventist Family Fun Day at the Lions Center, which is from 2 to 6 p.m. You had went over some
right,
of the
on the
other...
31st, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also the Circle of Love Breakfast, which is at the Mary Miller Hall. That needs RSVP, so if you want to, definitely RSVP.
And what's the date for that?
That is the 23rd.
Okay.
It's the same day as the Windsor Park Family Fun Day. Yeah. So it's a lot of really cool events coming up, and the BRAC has a lot. So reach out, and we can definitely get both calendars to anyone who wants it.
Okay, ladies, I want to give you an opportunity for any final comments that you may want to convey to our listening and viewing audience as well.
I don't know. I think probably my last call would be, again, to that foster parent growth. I'm going to use this time to, since you've given me the floor, to kind of make my push and my plug for, that foster care need, those foster care community plans. And I think, you'll probably hear more from me in the future about as we start to try to really ramp this up. But the idea and my hope is basically the more people that I have that are interested, or the more people the department has that is interested in becoming foster parents, then the greater ability the department has to maybe allow you to do only respite care. And that means like maybe you only have them on weekends, or you have them for like 1 week during the summer, versus some, thinking that or knowing that you have to have them and then you're going to have them for 4 to 5, 6 months. But even if you did, knowing that there are other homes out there that are willing to take them for just a little time. But I think more than anything as well is that before you open up your home to a child, to understand that the child that is being placed in your home is being placed in your home for a reason. They are coming from an unstable home. And so that is going to bring its own challenges and its own barriers that you're going to have to work on. So it is not an easy thing. And yes, I know, a lot of people always want the babies because they're little, but so do the 7-year-olds and the 13-year-olds, because those are still children in our community. So just kind of being, I think, more open-minded.
Sorry, go ahead.
Open-minded to the idea of what that looks like to foster. So asking questions. I am somebody that I love to ask questions and I love to answer questions. So don't be afraid to reach out and just, kind of see if that's a fit for you.
Okay, Ms. Elianna.
Just, going back to the theme, ensuring that the children are seen and heard, and they know that. That's the number one thing. If you have a child in your care, let them know that they are heard. Have those conversations with them, those hard conversations. Take yourself out of that equation. That's our role as the adults. We have to have that emotional regulation, that stability, so that children don't have to be in that position, right? They should be able to express themselves how they need to. So happy Child Month, and thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning as well, and also for the incredible work that you and all at the Department of Children and Family Services do for our children here in the Cayman Islands. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break where we go to our headline news at 9 o'clock. When we return, we will have representatives from Inclusion Cayman in the studio with us. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. The Buzz will be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The Department of Agriculture invites you to International Day of Plant Health activities being observed today under the global theme, Plant Biosecurity for Food Security. Enjoy interactive booths, educational displays, activities, and learn how you can protect Cayman's plants, food supply, and environment. It's taking place today from 11 a.m. to 4 at the Government Administration Building and the Glass House front lawn. In international news, Jess Phillips has resigned as safeguarding minister, telling UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer that, quote, deeds, not words, matter. 2 other ministers have resigned today. More than 80 Labour MPs have now urged Starmer to quit immediately or draw up a timetable to leave. The Prime Minister told a cabinet meeting earlier he would, quote, get on with governing, and that a leadership contest had not been triggered. In chaotic scenes afterwards, several cabinet ministers spoke to reporters, with the PM's allies saying he had their, quote, full support. But the health secretary, seen as a likely leadership rival, ignored questions shouted by journalists. And U.S. prices in April rose at their fastest rate since May 2023 as the impact of the war in Iran was increasingly felt by consumers in the U.S. A jump in the cost of gasoline and groceries pushed the consumer price index. The amount prices jumped by in the past 12 months to 3.8%. It's the highest level since inflation hit 4% 3 years ago. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said almost half of the rise was driven by surging energy costs, while housing and food costs also contributed. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Your Cayman Islands Health Services Authority has been the national healthcare provider of the Cayman Islands for many generations. We have elevated our level of care to ensure you, our patients, have the best possible experience. We offer better access to care close to home with the most locations on all 3 islands, delivering a full range of primary, secondary, tertiary, and emergency care. HSA is a JCI accredited organization, and we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. I am your guest host, Orrett Connor, and in this segment, I am joined by 2 wonderful guests from a local organization that's been quietly transforming lives and workplaces here in Cayman. They are Mr. Delroy Watson and Mr. Nathan Chesney from Inclusion Cayman. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you, sir.
And let's start with you, Delroy. For our listeners who may not be familiar, can you give us a feel of who Inclusion Cayman, who Inclusion Cayman is, and what it is that you've set out to do?
Morning, Mr. Orrett. Thank you very much. Yes, Inclusion Cayman has been around since 2009. We're an independent, impartial, non-profit organization, and our mission is to advocate for children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. We work across all 3 pillars, which is inclusive education, inclusive employment, and inclusive community life. Everything we offer is completely free, and we believe that cost should never be a barrier to accessing services. And crucially, we are not here just to provide a service. We want to walk alongside and walk with the businesses, schools and families, and the communities that we serve.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm made to understand that Inclusion Cayman was previously known under a different name. So, Mr. Nathan, can you tell us a bit about the evolution of the organization and how you work in practice? How do you work? How do you operate?
Well, absolutely. We first started off as the Special Needs Foundation in around 2008, 2009. And then as time progressed, we evolved into Inclusion Cayman, and we did that to align with accessibility and inclusion best practices. We also felt that it signified a change from the medical model of disability to the social model of disability, which recognizes not the person's intrinsic medical traits, but rather the barriers inherent in society, that's built into society, that will create a disability for a person. So we're talking about systems, we're talking about attitudes, and we're also talking about physical barriers. And so our job really is to remove these barriers in society. And so it's not uncommon for you to see us in the communities, in the schools, and in the workplaces, working to resolve these barriers and to remove them and create an accessible threshold for everybody.
Can we dive a little deeper into some of these barriers? I had the opportunity to listen to one of the shows that spoke about spaces for children or persons with, I'll use the word disability. I've in the past heard people talk. We had a cyclist in Cayman several years ago who had both prosthetic legs, who was born without any legs, and the term that they used was differently abled as opposed to disabled, differently able. But can we dive into some of these some of these challenges?
Well, there are quite a few barriers that a person with a disability may encounter, but let's start with just physical. So for instance, if a person with a disability has to park at the back of a car park because there's no blue spot parking for a person to actually park, or there is one, but someone's in it who does not have a disability. And then the next thing is the door. If someone has a stroller or someone has a wheelchair, or maybe they have an energy-related disability, can they actually open the door by themselves, or do they have to exert great effort to open that door? Or does the door just automatically just open for them? Is the curb cut so that somebody who uses wheels can transition from the road onto the curb and into the building? And when they go to the counter, is there a lower counter for them to actually interact with the customer service rep? Can they see and read the lips of the person that's serving them? And then also, once they're within the building, once they're actually interacting with the service, does the person have the training necessary to deal with the different manifestations of what a person with disability can present? Or if, let's say, they're in an airport and they have sensory sensitivities, can they express the discernment and the discretion to actually communicate with that person effectively? There are barriers in every single touch point that a person can come across. Conversely, someone who has planned accessibility and built it in from the start will know to create accessible thresholds at every single touch point.
Okay, and one of the calls that we keep hearing, Cayman, despite the fact that we're becoming more of a digital community, many transactions are handled online, there's still that clarion call out there for more dedicated lines for our elderly, as opposed to them being on a general line as well. And we've seen some businesses, for instance, one of my favorites, the credit union, has a line that is dedicated, to persons over a particular age, retired over a particular age as well. Can you comment about things like that, providing for elderly persons who are trying to transact person-to-person transactions?
Certainly. And so one of the things that we say at every single presentation and almost every single workshop is that as you age, it's no surprise that your chances of developing a disability increase statistically. And that's across the world. And so when you understand that your aging population will need specific interventions in order to use your customer service adequately and effectively, you understand that there are individuals who aren't aging that have similar traits who could also benefit from that. So when you create these accessible and inclusive interventions, you don't just benefit persons with disabilities, you also benefit persons who are aging and also the vulnerable. So persons who are with very young children and also very young toddlers. It really benefits everybody. It's the same principle as a curb cut can benefit a person in a wheelchair, but it can also benefit a person with a stroller. It can also benefit a person who's traveling and they have way too much suitcases. It can benefit a lot of people, but it was built as a intervention for accessibility.
So, Mr. Delroy, you've been doing this work for over 15 years. Can you give us your overall sense of where the Cayman where the Cayman Islands are in this inclusion journey?
Yes, sure. I personally haven't worked for Inclusion Cayman for over 15 years, but obviously the organisation has been in existence. But over the years, there has been a real progress. And there's a real appetite out there at the moment for business in the community to do better. What I personally find is a lot of employers do want to be inclusive. They just don't always know where to start. And they sometimes worry about actually getting it wrong. And that's where we come in. We remove the guesswork, and we walk alongside the business to actually help develop these specific entry-level positions.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to take a commercial break. Of course, we have to pay the bills as well, so we have to intervene and take a commercial break. Folks, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. The Buzz will be back shortly.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
The 7 a.m. Sports Report, brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm your guest host, Orrett Connor, filling in for Miss Kathy Miller. In the studio from Inclusion Cayman, we have Mr. Delroy Watson, who is an inclusion facilitator, as well as Mr. Nathan Chesney. He is also an inclusion facilitator. Gentlemen, there's so much for us to discuss, and probably not enough time to do all of it, but let's talk more about the employment pillar. I think that is extremely important, and our listeners and our viewers would want to hear more about that as well. Because we also know that there's something that it is something that really resonates with the business community. Let's take a look at what the employment pillar looks like in practice.
Absolutely. Well, normally when I go out to talk to organizations, I normally start by explaining to them what we call the normative pathway is.
Okay.
And the normative pathway is really, it's an expected life journey that most of us take through education, employment, relationships, and community life. It's what you and I followed, and it's what allowed you to get to that seat today. But people with disabilities don't have the opportunity to go through that normative pathway. And when we start looking at work, it's not just about giving someone a job. It's about helping someone with an identity, a purpose, giving them a belonging in life. We work directly with employers to create real jobs. And for people with disabilities, not tokenistic ones. Real positions at the same rate of pay that other employees would get to do the same job. But like we say, we don't leave the employer standing. We don't just place someone with an employer and say, there you go, you're on your own. We walk with the employer, we support the employer, and we support the candidate working with that employer to flourish and blossom. And as a result of our partnership, it really allows individuals to start developing their own identity, their own purpose in life, and then making a valuable contribution to that employer and to society.
Okay, so Mr. Chesney, for a business that may be interested, what does the process actually look like when they come to you?
Well, thank you for the question. Similar to when we work with individuals and family members, we're a person-centered organization, but we're also a business-centered organization as well. So we'll spend the first meeting getting to know who you are. We will research you, also engage you in dialogue to understand, and then we will do our best to adapt our service to meet you where you're at, because every business has a unique context. Ms. Shan, who is our CEO, likes to say, we work in the community. And so we have to adapt to whatever context that we're in to achieve the inclusive result. And so essentially, when an organization is thinking about reaching out to us, what we want to do is remove as many possible barriers that we possibly can. So our service is free of charge to anybody. And we get calls all the time with a large variety of issues pertaining to disability. And what we want to say to the public and to businesses is that you don't have to have everything figured out when you come to us. We will help you. We'll do the heavy lifting. We will give you a place to listen. We'll give you a place to structure your thoughts. And we will consult the people on our team who have the relevant expertise for that solution. And just like how we would like to model for everybody, we have a very diverse team with different skill sets and areas of expertise that we lean on for different situations. And ultimately, if for whatever reason we cannot help you within our remit, we'll signpost you to somebody who can. And so anyone who comes across or into our doors is left in a better place than when we found them. It doesn't matter whether you call, send us an email. That is our philosophy when it comes to serving the community that we live in.
Okay. I'm sure that our listening and viewing audience out there are anxious to know about some of your success stories as well. And, let's talk about those.
Yes, we've got many success stories. A lot of the candidates that go through the employment pillar or even just use the service feel that they've been completely satisfied. But I can always recall one young lady who came to us, a very shy, quiet, withdrawn lady who really had ambitions to work in a law firm. And Inclusion Cayman, working with Conyers, managed to develop a specific post that allowed this young lady to work. Not only did she just bring a ray of sunshine to the job, but she also brought a level of commitment, determination, and interest. Since working, this young lady has joined voluntary groups, offered herself to committees, even organised birthday parties,
Certainly,
which she's
yes.
invited guests to. That's what we call a win-win. You can't help but see this person flourish and the company benefit from this individual as well.
You know, what's amazing is that I've heard about that particular story because I actually served on a board with someone who was employed with Conyers as well, and they were directly involved with this individual, and she basically served as a shining example for some of the quote unquote normal employees as well, in terms of her punctuality, in terms of her attention to detail, and when she didn't know something or didn't understand it, she would ask about it as well. That is an amazing story, and that one I can actually identify with, as well. So let's talk about and in this part of the discussion we did mention it to a certain extent. What do businesses actually gain from inclusive employment, beyond the fact that they're doing the right thing? There are other benefits as well. Let's talk about those.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, one of the things that an employer will get is they're creating meaningful opportunities for individuals to become employed. People with disabilities in Cayman need to be part of our inclusive workforce as part of our society runs. We work with HR leaders. We've even had representatives, for example, when we've had conferences, we've even had representatives from A.L. Thompson sitting on a panel explaining to members of the public and other employers how they benefited from actually having individuals come into their organisation. But it really does allow an organisation to be all-encompassing. I think Nathan was saying before, when you talk about the average public and the public becoming more elderly, 20% of people in society are born with a disability. But by the time 40 years has passed, that number goes from 20% to 80%.
Wow.
So if we're not including disability as part of our society, we're excluding a very large chunk of people.
And on that point, there are benefits for inclusion in the workplace, both internally and externally. $6 trillion globally is commanded by the largest minority in the world. And for those of you who do not know what the largest minority in the world is, that is persons with disabilities. And so for a business to pass up on such a big pool of capital would be depriving them of possible customers, possible relationships, and simply missing out and leaving money on the table. And when we talk about being inclusive inside the workplace, our research would show that inclusive workplaces have employees that have lower absenteeism, higher morale, and the PR that you get from being an inclusive workplace is a great boon to your business. We have research that talks about 87% from one report of consumers prefer to do trade with inclusive businesses as opposed to non-inclusive businesses. So what you do behind closed doors really does matter, because people talk, people create word of mouth, and at the end of the day, when a customer wants to part with their money, they want to be confident and reassured that they're doing business with good people.
Okay, this I'm going off script a little bit, but there's an Investors in People program and certification that can be obtained as well. Does it include investment, in persons with disabilities? Is that category included in that? What should I say? In that award or that recognition that companies that are identified as Investors in People category? Does it include? I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
I'm not personally familiar with it, so I can't speak to that specifically.
I apologize for putting you on the spot with that. if I had enough time for another commercial break, absolutely, I would have sort of mentioned it to you before that. But it's something that I will look into as well, because there are several companies in the Cayman Islands that have achieved that award for Investors in People, and whether or not includes that. But again, so what would we say to those business owners out there who are listening right now, but feel unsure about taking that first step in terms of employing someone with a disability?
It's very simple. We've got one simple response and one simple answer. Call us. Call us. Have that conversation. You don't need to have a plan. You don't need to have anything in place. All you need to do is want to start that conversation with an organization like ourselves. We'll reach out to you wherever you are. We'll work with you wherever you are, and we'll help you look at whether accessibility audits or whether employment partnerships or whether your staff training, anything that can fundamentally support you to become a more inclusive employer, we'll be game to and happy to support you with that initiative. So yeah, just call us, have that conversation. I won't say pull us when you see us going shopping, but people do. If you see us in the community, people know who we are, just stop us and have that conversation there and then. We'll always advise you, give you our details, and explain to you how you can follow it through.
Okay.
And we're a small but mighty organization, but we recognize that our ability to see gaps in our society and community are relatively limited to us. So we always take the opportunity to recruit everyone who is an advocate for persons with disabilities to look out for gaps, to look out for people who might need our help, who might need a service, a helping hand, someone to listen to, and someone to point them in the right direction. And we encourage you to be champions for inclusion. That means if you can help them, if you can leave them in a better place, please do.
Okay, like I said when we had a commercial break, this is a segment that should have run for an hour or hour and a half rather than a half an hour. So much to talk about. But I want to, Delroy and Nathan, I want to give both of you an opportunity for some closing comments as well.
Okay, well, I first want to acknowledge that Inclusion Cayman recently had our first inaugural family conference on the 14th of March called Uncharted. Okay. And we're so proud of this initiative because many months in the planning, and the idea was to bring people together in the community to chart uncharted waters and navigate systems that weren't necessarily made for you, and also to tell you that you are not alone and that there are people who are going through the same thing that you're going through, and there's strength in community. We had over 200 people and a keynote speaker from the Pease Brothers, who are the first push-assisted athletes in Ironman competitions. Their speech was incredibly inspirational, and we hope to have the same conference next year. So we invite you, if you have the opportunity, to come through to our next inaugural conference. The second thing I want to say is that Inclusion Cayman offers accessibility audits, and they're all free. And this is an initiative I'm extremely proud of. We offer it to community providers, businesses, schools, anything that has a service that touches the public. We're incredibly proud to offer this. When you sign up for it, we'll come to your organization, and we will look at every single touch point following an 8-point report. Okay. We will create the report, and then in a consultative meeting, we'll explain the findings of the report to you. And we do this to help identify those same barriers, those same obstacles that we were talking about, and to give you a clearer bird's eye view of how you can be more inclusive and more accessible as an organization. And so this is something that we offer through, well, essentially through my certification from the International Association of Accessibility Professionals. Okay. And so the insights that we bring to this are backed, well, they're supported by an international body of global accessibility professionals. And this is from...
and they're tried and true as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so what we're doing here with this initiative is just to, if we can just incrementally make you just a little bit more accessible, just a little bit more inclusive, we've won at the end of the day. Because if an organization is accessible, it also has usability. And usability of any service cannot be effective if it's not accessible to large segments of the population.
Yeah. Just to add as well, we also run other events. We have workshops. We provide workshops on things like AAC devices, which is augmented alternative communication devices. We provide that service to serve to the companies and to members of the public, but we also run workshops on that. And we also run workshops on things like training for ASL. Yes. For example, Nathan is at the point of running a 6-week workshop at the moment, providing free ASL lessons to beginners. If anyone is interested in reaching out to us, whether it be a business or children and families, please visit us at inclusioncayman.ky or request free accessibility audits. You can go onto our website, go online, and actually fill in our accessibility audit questionnaire, or you can phone us directly at 345-623-2957 or email us at info@inclusioncayman.ky.
And if you're curious about any of our workshops that we offer to the community, I encourage you to follow us on our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and be the first to know, because all of our services are free of charge. However, the ASL workshop specifically is extremely popular.
And in terms of your assessment, we're at the end, but I'm going to steal a few minutes. Where are we in terms of the spectrum, the Cayman Islands now, in terms of inclusion?
So the Cayman Islands is an incredibly affluent place, and so you have large pockets of the island who are incredibly accessible, especially the newer buildings. Newer buildings have newer architectural codes that include accessible conventions. However, there are quite a lot of pockets, conversely, that need accessibility and inclusion to be built in as well. Some of the older buildings, some of the older services. And so, although there are parts of the island that are incredibly inclusive and incredibly accessible, the opposite is true. And so we encourage everyone to be on the lookout for opportunities to increase your accessibility and inclusion. And if you spot them, please pass it on to us or a similar organization, and we will be happy to look at them and see what we can do to incrementally just foster that change.
Excellent. Mr. Watson and Mr. Chesney from Inclusion Cayman, I want to thank you so much for being on the buzz this morning. It's been truly inspiring for our listeners. All details are available at the inclusioncayman.ky website as well. And just before we go, one of our listeners asked me to please read this. It is great. This was in relation to our previous segment with the representatives from the Department of Children and Family Services, that it was great to have 2 young Caymanian social workers on this morning promoting Child Month as well. With that, I want to thank all of our listeners and our viewers, thank all of our guests as well. I am your guest host, Orrett Connor, and you will be stuck with me on the buzz for the next 2 weeks as well. It has been my pleasure. Please have a great day, and please stay safe as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
This is The Breakfast Session